Separation movements are not new. They've been around since the beginning of civilization, and make no mistake, they have succeeded more times than they have failed. Throughout human history, societies and empires have broken apart. Look at Europe, which is the remnants of a dead Roman Empire. Several countries, which all started as Roman provinces and states, are now their own independent nations. The Germanic tribes that once challenged Rome and sacked its cities eventually unified to form modern-day Germany, one of the strongest countries in Europe today. Almost every nation on Earth separated, either violently or peacefully, from its original motherland. Of course, the preferred method is always a peaceful one. As confederations and unions fail, succession movements are on the rise around the world. Talk of succession has begun to sprout in U.S. states like California and Texas, while Canada has already witnessed its own historic secession vote in Quebec, with another one probably less than a decade away from now, in Alberta. In other parts of the world, succession is either a reality or on the verge of becoming reality. Recently enough for us to remember, Great Britain voted to leave the European Union in what is now known as Brexit. In the Spanish state of Catalonia, a massively successful independence vote was deemed illegal by Spain in 2017, when 92% of Catalonians voted to form their own independent country. That saga is far from over, and we will likely see more from Catalonia in the coming years. In the German state of Bavaria, an independence movement has been affecting the state's politics and local political landscape since the late 1800s. Anyone who believes that Western Canada, or just Alberta and Saskatchewan, would never vote to leave Canada is sadly mistaken. Canada itself is a separatist nation founded on the very same ideals of independence. There is nothing scary or unique or obscure about separatism and separatist movements. Canada's current federal government has let most of Western Canada down and created a bitter contempt in the minds of a growing number of Western Canadians. Anger towards Ottawa has risen to a boiling point in much of Alberta and Saskatchewan, with British Columbia slowly catching up. In Saskatchewan, the separatist Buffalo Party took the third highest number of votes in the province's last provincial election, while Alberta's own share of separatist parties are likely to do surprisingly well in the coming years. Next up for a separatist insurgency are Manitoba and BC. Soon enough, the sentiments will reach a boiling point as both provinces start to see a reduction in their prosperity and independence. Since the beginning of Confederacy, provinces like Alberta and BC have sent countless billions worth in transfer payments and equalization payments to Ontario, Quebec, and the Maritimes, getting nothing else in return but perpetual Liberal governments that work to undermine and suppress the West's energy sector. The death of several pipelines under Trudeau's leadership and Ontario's willingness to re-elect him prove that Eastern and Western Canada would be better off as separate countries. As time goes on, and as Liberal provinces in the East continue to re-elect governments that hate the West, people in BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba are beginning to catch on. Ottawa and the East are playing with fire. With provincial parties like the Buffalo Party in Saskatchewan, the Wild Rose Independence Party in Alberta, and the Federal Maverick Party, voters are ready to make the next few elections count. So-called conservatives like Jason Kenney and Brian Pallister are going to have to start counting their blessings because their days in office are no longer guaranteed. The era of fake conservatives is coming to an end in the West. With federal conservatives failing on every front, voters are left with few choices. Over the coming years, separatism will rise. The fire will rise on the prairies and spread across the West to the borders of Manitoba and Ontario. The people who have been left behind and spit upon by Ottawa and the elitist trust fund kids like Justin Trudeau will hold the grifters in Ottawa accountable for for their divisive and destructive leadership. Soon enough, the people facing the hardships that were imposed by Ottawa will be heard loud and clear. At this point, there is no going back. Separation is the only option. Like the other independent nations before it who cut ties with their founders and beat new paths, Canada's West will do the same. Separation is not new, and it's been done successfully countless times throughout human history. For those who doubt that it can be done, don't let your cockiness get the best of you. He who laughs last, laughs longest.